coming in. As an example, in 4 years, Biden didn't have 1 trillion. We have 17 trillion more than that in 8 months coming in.
The setting, Donald Trump, POTUS 4547, addressing generals in Quantico, Virginia. He drops this in his speech out of context.
Be no higher honor than to serve as your commander-in-chief. It is a great honor. I look at you, you're just incredible people. Central casting, I might add. To each and every one of you, I thank you for your unwavering devotion.
With the words before and after, how does it make sense that he would just add that?
People. Central casting, I might add. To each and every one of you,
If we were to know how things truly are, in what we call a world that we're in, would we be able to handle it? Would our minds just be totally blown? This is how Trump started today's address to the generals.
Great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time. But
now, I don't, for one, believe this scenario is play acted. I do believe that if a person is protecting their rank and status, they're likely capable of doing quite well in keeping certain secrets hush. Joe Rambo shares another observation for this meeting. Holy crap, he just admitted it again. 45, 46, 47. The pause. We'll play that clip. The context for this next clip is a future fighter jet known as the F-47, born out of a competition between Boeing and Lockheed Martin to succeed the F-22 Raptor.
Testing, and this one tested like through the roof. And they said, we'd like to name it the F-47. I said, all right, let me think about it. Then after thinking for about 2 seconds, I said, okay. You know what that means, 47, I'm 47. So I'm 45, 46, and 47, you know, if you think about it. I just don't want the credit for 46. I don't want to have their open borders and people coming in from all over the world.
So the question some have is Trump hinting that he did secretly serve a 4-year term as 46 for what would be Joe Biden's term? When I first saw this, you see a normal succession of presidents going all the way up until Joe Biden, where there's no portrait, there's just a pen, then normalized again at Trump. I thought this was extremely unprofessional and disrespectful to the office of president. However, if you think about things from the standpoint of the almost cartoonishly, laughably serious, significant corruption in this country, and consider that continuity of government could have been an option that was chosen to help buy time to break the spell the mainstream media cast over the population. In such a case, the office of president becomes like an entertainment property, gently motivating and keeping the crowd enthused. In such a case, pointing fun at the Biden stand-in is not so disrespectful. Here, Joe shares an old clip of Trump describing the meaning of the pause that takes a while to persuade the population.
And one of the beautiful things of the pause, if there is such a thing as a beautiful thing, but one of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this 2-year period, and it will be a 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done.
Makes sense. So now it is easier for Trump to do what needs to be done. Using such logic that we could be participant of a much larger show, I'm going to craft a theory around Ashton Forbes' recent behavior. And with this theory, we'll put Bibi Netanyahu in a different light. So as you know, Ashton Forbes has been going very hard in the paint, criticizing prominent mainstream conservative voices who have questions about what happened to Charlie Kirk. As an example, you have this reply: facts, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. You actually have supposition, speculation, opinion, and innuendo. That word is woke right. Here's one says, all these people gave you a platform when no one else would, and you spit in their face. GFY, Ashton. And you have this comment, which I can't even read on YouTube. There's a key quote from Ashton, which gave me an idea. He posted this on September 16th. It was on this day that he actually unfollowed myself. For the people I blocked or who unfollowed, I'm sorry you weren't ready to see the world as anything other than black and white. My content requires challenging your preconceived notions and biases. That which is not just black and white is gray. Remember how gray or unclear this statement by General William Walker was in describing a National Guard's defense of the U.S. Capitol for its supposed Joe Biden transition 2021?
How proud I am of the almost 25,000 National Guardsmen who have come in from all 50 states and territories to help support the Secret Service and the police department with a peaceful transition of military power.
A peaceful transition to military power. And so it appears things have really turned around from 4 years ago. At this point, Ashton Forbes can operate to direct the attention of his patriotic audience. In the past, I'd gone through the steps to show that the MH370 teleportation may have been fabricated from a special effects pack from the 90s. I watched works produced by others and then went into Adobe Premiere Pro to prove the possible fabrication. But the point of MH370 from this theory is not that it is a real government secret attack on a commercial aircraft. Instead, the MH370 teleportation theory could merely be a carefully placed piece of propaganda to further seed the concept of zero-point energy into the public conscious. The capabilities do exist, but people have to be in a headspace to seriously consider it. And so in this case, by attacking those dissenting from the mainstream media Charlie Kirk narrative, Ashton could be playing as the bad cop to get people to focus and categorize these different viewpoints on Charlie Kirk. In a way, Ashton does remind me of Austin Steinbart. Austin seeded into my mind the concept of communicating with oneself from the future. He publicly indicated his connection to the White Hats. He identified Elon Musk early on as a possible White Hat. He seeded into the public mind the concept of a black pager threat made by BB to Trump. But what my contention is, we shouldn't dial away the possibility that BB and Trump are operating in a gray capacity. Trump not totally trusting of some elements of the FBI, and BB not entirely trusting of some elements of the Mossad, each knowing they must create a loyalty conflict in the minds of the American public to get them to debate and decide how best the United States should conduct its foreign policy. We are to believe Trump is submissive to Benjamin's regime through a blackmail threat, yet at the same time, supposedly, he makes the actual prime minister apologize to Qatar for striking Doha. Clearly, the power dynamics are not what they seem. We may not be able to see the backstage, but there is evidence of an actual backstage. Like Ashton, Austin has also advocated for the release of hidden technology, here generally described as Energy 3, to lead to further breakthroughs, resetting civilization in a different path than what we currently see with our limited sight of things. As I mentioned once before, Austin Steinbart is a known entity to the clandestine warriors, which include George Nassif, even as far back as 2018. Considering all the amazing stuff we're seeing, just imagine what we're not seeing. Yes, Laura Loomer seems insufferable at times, but important to at least hold the possibility that we could be insulting her intelligence by thinking in just black and white terms of her actions. And the same goes for Ashton Forbes. I am seeing movements in the background, which I can't comment on. I think we may have some more discernible clues to the big picture before long. Thanks for watching.